Demaka Management LLC brings to you BTI TV, Business, Technology, and Innovation. Tonight's show is sponsored by Divaville, a platform where you can freely come and speak what's on your mind in a non-judgmental zone. How do I know? I host the show. And my motto is my mind, my thoughts. And for those of you that have been following me all along, Divaville will be returning next month, February. I have a crazy, crazy, crazy first show that's gonna come on for next month. So I'm gonna start my show tonight, but what I want everybody to do is start sharing. The minute you get in, share, 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 share. Not only share, I want you guys to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. I'm going to bring my guests in right about now. Hey, 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 what's up? What's up? What's up?
What's going on? What's going on?
Chilling, chilling. So, introduce yourself so we can get started.
All right. So my name is Bernard Gleaton. I am the Chancellor of the School of Hard Knocks and the Genesis Project podcast. The Genesis Project podcast is a business podcast. It's all about pushing the entrepreneurship agenda forward because I feel that we all need to learn business principles from beginners from the School of Hard Knocks. And if you don't know what the School of Hard Knocks is, it's pretty much just picking up your bumps and bruises as you go through this thing we call life. You know what I mean? So
So, tell me, how did you get started with this?
So I originally started by um, I started the podcast because originally I had a tech business,
Hmm.
where uh, I go and set up people's infrastructure for their businesses and things of that nature, and teach them how to use technology or leverage technology for their businesses and things of that nature. But one day, you know, I really just wanted a way for me to start picking up leads and start making leads into clientele for my tech business. And uh, well, the podcast idea came to me from listening to a podcast. I said, "Oh, screw it, I'm going to do a podcast then." Right. And then as I was doing the podcast, I realized that I like doing this whole podcasting thing so much more than the tech business. So, so as of recently, I dissolved the tech business and started going full force with the Genesis Project podcast.
So, the Genesis Project Pocket, how did you come up with that name?
So, by no means is my podcast a religious podcast, but I do know and pretty sure everybody knows that Genesis is the first book of the Bible, right?
Okay.
So, I have what I like to call these Genesis moments, right? The Genesis moment is when you come to a fork in your road of your life, and you could go right, you could go left, but you can see what your life could be like beyond those steps, right?
Hmm.
So, an example of a Genesis moment is me starting the show. Another Genesis moment is me getting married. Another Genesis moment is me trying out for the CFL 4 years removed from high school. So that's where Genesis came from. Project came from the idea that we all have these big, audacious, and I guess you could say a Goliath of a goal, right?
Right, right.
And I feel that by us making these humongous goals, they're awesome, but a lot of us tend to get afraid of how big we make our goals, right? So I think if we change our perspective just a tad bit and look at it as if it's a weekend project, right? So I know if I wanted to paint this office, it's going to take me a weekend, right? So if I look at my huge goals and things of that nature that same way, then it would be more attainable. I could go out there, I could kill it like it's a weekend project. So that's where the name, the Genesis Project podcast, came from.
That is so deep. That is so deep. And I like the way that you are able to explain it to say exactly what it's all about. So with
Yeah.
this podcast, how do you market this podcast?
So the way I market my podcast is I'll put it to you like this. The first season, I had a bunch of friends and family members that I knew who I thought was just killing it. So I invited them onto the show, and we got really deep into the processes of how they started, how to get to that level of success and all that
Mhm,
type of stuff. So the
mhm,
way I started marketing it is social media, reaching out to everybody on my social media, my friends list, and all that type of stuff, and started turning them or started putting them on my email list. And I started emailing them, hey, I don't know if you know this, but I got a new show. It's a podcast. Come check me out. A lot of my friends do have businesses, and a lot of friends that I don't talk to have businesses or may have even thought about starting a business. And again, might just be afraid of starting a business. So the whole genesis moment here is for me to help people to start their business and get their business going.
That is so deep. Everybody who's coming in, please press share so more people will be able to hear this right here. So the hardest thing that I think that people have about starting businesses is just to start, because a lot of people are afraid to fail, but
Yeah,
they don't know. If you don't know what it's like to fail, you'll never know what it's like to be successful.
yeah, yeah. I would even go as far as saying, so here's my story. Maybe about just over 15 years ago, I wanted to start a business,
Hmm.
right? And I went and asked friends and family, how do I start a business, right? And 90% of them never started a business before. They had great tips and things of that nature, but I'm one of those people who need to hear it from somebody who has been there, who has done that, right?
Preach.
So, so the other 10% that started businesses just didn't remember what they did to start, right? So I was pretty much just, again, going through the school of hard knocks. I had to figure it all out on my own. And obviously, actually, on my way of promoting my first season and everything, because I released my first season back in March, February. I apologize, February. Uh, from February up until this second season, which is
Mhm.
out now. I'm in the middle of my second season now. I started getting asked the same question over and over again. Well, how do I start a business? How do I start a business? And maybe about the 10th person that asked me that question, I stopped and said, okay, wait a minute. Let me think on this. There's something here, right? So again, I had to go and pick up all the notes that I took from me going through my
Yeah.
own school of hard knocks. And I started putting together a online course that would teach people how to start their business. So with my course, it would take you from idea to incorporate it in less than 24 hours. So that's a little bit of how I started marketing my podcast and everything like that. But I also put together 60-second clips of all
Mm.
the interviews and I blast it on social media. So when I blast it on social media, I don't just do it for one day. I try to have at least two audiograms, so that's what they call it, audiograms. I try to have two audiograms a day up until the next episode. So my podcast is a weekly episode, is a weekly podcast that comes out every Thursday. So from Thursday all the way up to Wednesday, you're getting blasted with two audiograms, one in the morning, one in the afternoon or evening or what have you.
That's
Just to try to tease people to hey, pick up these gems. All of us started somewhere, might as well get started.
See, and that's one of the problems that I have, because let's go back maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. Things weren't as easy to come about as it is now. I
Yeah,
mean, now you pick up your phone, you pick up your computer, you can Google anything and be any place you want to be. But when
yeah,
somebody is actually sitting down and giving you this information, they're spoon feeding you. And some people, they just they don't, I don't know if it's they don't understand it or they don't want to accept it. I don't know, because I do know
yeah.
the hardest part about starting a business is just to get started.
Yeah, yeah, I would definitely say so. I would say that the people who have purchased my course
Hmm.
has been successful in starting their businesses, right? And with my course, I don't just make it so that you could purchase the course and then go away. I
Hmm.
created a little community, whereas if you have any questions about what you're going through, you can come into my Facebook group and post those questions or even email me, you know, and I'll try to make myself available to answer all of those questions, or somebody in my Facebook group will be able to answer that question for you, you know?
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
The thing that I want to add to that is, now what you're doing. Oh, I take off my hat to it. Is great. But what people have to realize, you can give them the steps, you can tell them how to do it, you can show them how to do it, but at the end, they have to realize they're gonna have to be the one that's gonna have to make that business be a success. Um,
Totally.
I like to do a lot of posting. I don't know, I got a lot of stuff in this big head. So because and sometimes when stuff hit me, it's just like I just gotta post. I gotta post. But I tell people that if somebody else is cheering about you louder than you are, it's something wrong with you and your business.
Yeah, yeah. And I also tell all my clients and even some of the guests that I have come on to the show,
Mm-hmm.
we discuss this quite often on my show,
Mm-hmm.
that none of us is experts in business, right?
Exactly.
We just throwing a lot of stuff at the wall and hoping that it'll stick to the wall, right?
I
And whatever sticks to the wall, we take it, we tweak it, and then we put it back out there, and that's all we are, right? Like I have a buddy who's a electrical engineer, and he came to me with an idea, and I was like, man, I think that's dope. You can run with it, you know. And I gave him little gems, you know, as he went on and everything. And that brother now is killing it, you know. And
see.
he's still an electrical engineer. And I tell him all the time that the whole engineering part of how I put everything together, I got it from him. You know, just his way of thinking. I adopted that engineering thought process, and I just incorporated in my own business. You know,
I think that what you're doing, I think that is great because I find that a big problem that we have, and I'll say in the black community, is that we sometimes, some of us, not everybody, some of us don't want to help the next person. And I feel that sometimes they don't want to help the next person because they feel in order for me to help you, it's taking something away from me, or I want you to be successful, but I don't want you to be more successful than than what I am. You know what I'm
yeah, yeah. I totally get you.
saying?
You know that also kind of spurred me to create a media company. And within my media company, yes, I'm offering my online course. I also have an ebook that's out there as well. But with that, I also have services. So I'm not exactly getting away from my technical skills.
Hmm.
So I'm bringing my technical skills within my media company to help businesses to brand and market. So when I
Hmm.
talk about branding, I mean, you know, creating you a website. When it comes to marketing, I'm talking about setting up a podcast tour so that you can get out there and start marketing, you know. And that was another thing that I started doing to help market my own show, was to do a podcast tour. You know, unfortunately, you know, we in this pandemic and everything else like that. So how many of us is really listening to the radio? Is really
Exactly.
listening to these to the TV and things of that nature, right? A lot more people is picking up podcasts. If you do enough podcasts, you can get in front of everybody that you try to go after.
Yeah.
You know, they go and hear you once or twice, or depends on how long you do this podcast tour for, but at least 15 times. You know what I mean? So it's ways to get out there.
James Robinson says, "What are some of the topics that you discuss on your podcast?"
So some of the topics that I discuss on the podcast is everything from how to start a business, from marketing your business, from positioning to brand expansion to just trying to take your business to the next level. Anything dealing with business, I have somebody on the show to talk about it. And ironically enough, I have a my most recent episode. I have a guy by the name of Dr. Mark T. Wade,
Hmm.
and everybody who come on my show is a guest professor. So, guest professor Dr. Mark T. Wade, he is a guy who created virtual summits, right? And this is going to kind of lead off into my special announcement that I wanted to make later on in the show. But
Hmm.
uh, he makes virtual summits. Like he started and created virtual summits. And he's really a doctor. He started off as a clinician, and then he put together this educational platform where he just wanted to teach people something about whatever was in his field and to give them a certification, right? And some of his friends whose businesses, who have businesses and things of that nature, looked at it and was like, hey, can I use this for me to market? He was like, yeah, all right, sure, let's figure it out. So he took it to a point where now he's helping businesses to market themselves, and that's one of the best episodes that
Yeah.
I have. And I all my episodes are great. but that's one that really hits me because he really opened my mind as to how to really get out here and market, how to mix and mingle and network, and I rightfully so named that episode the positioning class. How to position yourself in front of people, in front of your potential clientele, and in front of other potential business partners and things of that nature.
How do you go about getting guests for your show?
So I am a part of a few Facebook groups. So I reach out to everybody in my Facebook groups. I also just reach out to people. Some of the guests that I had on the show, they sent me guests as well. You know,
That's
so
good.
yeah. And the one thing I realized, it kind of goes back to my media company. The one thing I realized is that as a podcaster, we all have one thing in common. We all need guests, right? So again, that's one of the reasons why I made that a staple into my media company, is to, as far as marketing, is by putting people on these podcasts to market them. And like I said, we all need guests, right? So all I'm doing is serving my buddy over here who's at this podcast a guest. You know,
My mind just went blank. Just that, I mean, I'm listening to to what you're saying. So let me ask you this right here, because there's a lot of people out there. How important is marketing?
marketing. Well, I could go really deep into this, but I'll just keep it super simple. How important is it for you to make money within your business? That's just all it is. That's how important it is. If you just doing this as a hustle, like you're not really serious about it, then okay, you might tell one or two people who might be on your block or family or something like that. But if you serious about actually turning a dollar within your business, oh, you're gonna be out there with a megaphone, with a sign. You might be out there next to the homeless dude with the sign saying, "Hey, I got this business. This is what my business do." And the homeless dude might have a sign that says, "Oh, we'll work for money. I just want to be here," or something like that. That's the Detroit thing.
I would give no, no, that's every place. Please, I will give him the sign to hold, and I'll pay him to stand and hold that sign.
Yep.
James says, what is what type? I guess he's saying what type of classes is taught on your online course.
So some of the things that I have in my online course is I have what's called, what I like to call, the business roadmap, right? So the
Mhm.
business roadmap is sort of this visual representation of steps of how you're gonna go from having this business idea to actually getting started, right? So from there, we go from actually how to fill out the paperwork, of getting your EIN, of getting incorporated, the difference between corporations, between LLC and partnership and a S corp and all that type of stuff, right?
Important stuff.
Um, the good stuff, right? And then trying to get you a business bank account, right? And like you said earlier, people they are afraid. They don't want to jump in. It's not as hard as you really think it is, right?
It's not.
It's not. And people don't know that. They don't know that unless somebody tells them. So this is me telling people, hey, it's super easy. We could do this, And at this point, I've started 4 or 5 businesses. I'm not saying that I'm an expert or anything, but I kind of got some skin in the game. So
Hold up. So let me put my glasses on so I can see. Okay. So this is Tim Witherspoon. Tim said, marketing is a way to produce to the masses. Posting just on your page isn't enough. Target influencers.
yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Definitely,
Thanks,
definitely.
Tim. But you know what it is? From what Tim is saying, I'm piggybacking off him there. A lot of people are on Facebook all the time. A lot of people are on YouTube all the time, Twitter, all those different things. But the thing is, they don't take advantage of it. So people say when it comes down to marketing, to advertising, they say that it costs too much, right?
Mm,
But
yeah,
you
yeah.
on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all of this stuff is free. And you think about how many people, like he said, produce to the masses. Think about how many people you reach out to. Like
Right.
you're sitting there and you have on your shirt and it says the Genesis Project. I have on
Yep.
my Divaville shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
marketing 101 right there.
Yep.
It's called product placement.
And I would go as far as to say the way I like to think is I need to leverage, right? So in my mind, I'm looking at Facebook. How can I leverage Facebook, right? And will I have to pay a lot of money? Kind of depends on how I leverage it, right? And there's other ways to market just beyond Facebook and Instagram.
It
You know
is.
what I mean? And I know we running short on time, so I won't go super deep into it.
Go
But
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
well, okay, so this kind of leads off into my special announcement, right? For everybody who is looking to start a business or just pondering on the idea of starting a business, I am having a online virtual summit, right? So you heard me earlier speak about my guest professor, Dr. Mark T. Wade, and how he created virtual summit software. I
Mm-hmm.
am using some of the things that he told me on the show for me to put out there how to start a business. So if you guys are interested, come check me out at my virtual summit. It's only $26.99. It's a 1 day summit. I'm going to have a business lawyer on there that will talk about uh, uh, formatting. Nope, that's not the word. Getting your business um, formalized.
Formalizing.
LLC, yes, LLC, partnership, all that type of stuff. I'm also going to have an accountant on the show that's going to talk about the tax benefits and things of that nature of being in business versus just you being just a regular person. I'm also going to have me and one of your previous guests, Jaquan Williams, Jay Williams. I'm at me and him. We're going to tag team and we're going to talk a little bit about marketing and a little bit about sales and things of that nature. So a business structure. Thank you, Jaquan. Uh, business structure, things of that nature. You know what I mean? So if you guys are interested, like I said, $26.99. I'm having this virtual summit in April. So the best thing I can tell you, get in now, get the early bird special. The prices might go up later on as we get closer to April. But if you're looking for a, let's say, cost effective way of starting your business and the know how and somebody walking you through this, you need to come to this virtual summit. That's the big special announcement.
Okay. Well, since you want to make an announcement, and let me make an announcement too. I was trying to decide when was the best time to put this out there, but there's no time like now.
Yep.
So my husband and I, our business is formed under the Market Management LLC, which is the umbrella company. So beneath that company, I have BTI TV and I also have Divaville. So
Mm-hmm.
what we're gonna do, we're gonna start a community ourselves. It may not be on Facebook, but I will let people from Facebook be a part of it because what it's going to be a private thing. It's going to be a community of entrepreneurs. Within these entrepreneurs, anybody that wants to know about businesses will be able to go into this group and ask questions, participate. It'll be open dialogue. It'll be live Q&A. It's going to be best practices, also a referral program to help put ourselves out there. When I say ourselves, it's to help people like me and you, help people of color to get out there. The hardest thing that I say that people have with businesses is to get started because people are afraid that if they start, they're going to fail. People are afraid that it's going to cost too much to do what they want to do. So, what we're doing, we're forming a group. It's going to be like a little family. It'll be a community where you will be able to come in. If you have questions, it'll be live Q&A, like I said, because I don't know everything about businesses. I'm quite sure there is something that somebody could teach me, somebody could teach him, somebody could teach you. But the thing is, people give up too quick because
Yeah.
something happens and they don't understand it. Or you know what? This is too hard, so I'm not going to do it. So the
Yeah.
reason to start this is to give more people that financial freedom, to give more people that opportunity to step outside of their comfort zone to be a better version of themselves.
See, that's
So
that's awesome. Another thing is just a way for us to utilize each other, right? And like I mentioned earlier, how can I leverage this? So how can I leverage you? I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet, but somehow, some way, I'm going to leverage you. You know, whether it's me sending somebody to you or you sending somebody to me, and all that type of stuff. And I think we don't think in those terms of leveraging what we know, leveraging who we have around us, and leveraging what we can learn. You know.
Well, that's true because I tell people all the time, you know a lot of people, but these people that you know, what are they doing to help you? Feel free to ask questions. Um, Jaquan said networking at its finest. If you don't put your business out there, if you don't say something, nobody's gonna know anything about it. If you don't know how to do it, if you don't ask questions or study it, you're never gonna know how to do it. But the thing is, like you keep saying, there's someone out there who's actually done it. So this person has done it. Talk to this person, listen to this person, see what this person did to get to the point to where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. I totally agree with that.
Listen, I have I I have a friend, and my friend said to me that you can't share a meal with everybody.
Yeah.
Says you can't, and which is true because when you sit down to eat, you have a conversation, and if the conversation is not about the same thing, you can't sit down and eat with that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're also saying if people don't allow you to sit at their table, build your own,
Yeah.
start your own network. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have something else you want to say? Because I'm going to tell you, if you have any last words that you want to put out there, please take this time to do it.
Well, I sent you the links to the virtual summit registration and to my website. Um, so the Genesis Project podcast, you can find me or find the podcast rather on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, on TuneIn Radio, on Spotify, and you can always find me at my website, which is www.genesisprojectpodcast.com. The web page for the virtual summit registration. All you have to do is go to genesisprojectpodcast.com, starting line summit, because we starting off. We gotta jump from that starting line, right? As a former track man, I guess you could say, we gotta run this race. So starting line summit, and go there, 26.99. You can't beat that. You know, I'm planning on doing this as a annual deal. So this one here is just all about starting a business. The next virtual summit is going to be about how to market, how to sell your business, and things of that nature. And then maybe later on down the road, I can do like a really huge summit where I'm bringing all the best of the best to teach you from A to Z. You know what I mean? So one way or another, if you try and get out here and start that business, let's do this.
What's the date?
Oh, so the date is April 28th. I'm glad you said that because I'm looking at it and completely forgot about it. April 28th, 2021. So you got a couple of months, but yeah, get in while you can. So we're planning on having the summit at noon. So it
Oh,
starts at noon, and we're planning on ending it around 4 or 5.
okay. Thank you so very much for coming on the show. You gave me a lot of great information, a lot of stuff to think about. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, I like people that can come on and they can represent themselves and they got, you know what I'm saying? They got that
yeah.
knowledge. Thank you so very much. So you guys heard them. April 28th from 12 to 4. There's going to be a summit. Check the Genesis, Lord Jesus, the Genesis Project podcast, so you can get all the information so that you can be a part of this. Thank you so very much for coming on and being a part of the show. I'm going to take you out so that I can end the show. But
All
thank
right.
you so very much. Okay.
All right. See y'all.
Okay, you guys. So that's the end of the show for tonight. The show started with my sponsor, which is Divaville, My Mom, My Thoughts. Show is coming back next month, which is February. I'm going to have some great topics that we will be talking about next month. You guys know how I do with Divaville, My Mind, My Thoughts. I want you guys to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to DeMarca Management LLC. All my shows are there, old shows, new shows, everything is there. Go there, subscribe to the show. Go to Bandcamp, DeMarca.bandcamp.com. I still have T-shirts still, I know it's cold, but you still need them. T-shirts, leg warmers, masks, hats and scarf, bottles, bags. I still have stuff there, so feel free to jump into it and get that. Um, that's about it, you guys. Thank you guys for coming in to be a part of the show, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. Love you.